Hi. I know this isn't the LPS video, just give me a second and we'll talk about it at the end. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish came out in last year's December, and unlike other animated kids films that come out and then just kind of fade to obscurity, it pleasantly surprised its audience and has stuck with the internet since then. Probably due to the amazing animation and perfectly done cast of unforgettable characters. I saw the movie a little while after it came out, and honestly, I'm just like everybody else, I have not been able to stop thinking about it. Something that I especially love is the way the movie twists characters like Goldilocks and the Three Bears and Jack Horner while perfectly integrating their fairy tale elements into their new crime personas. We do know that there is a whole, society of fairy tale criminals that exists in the Shrek universe, but I couldn't stop thinking about the fables that we haven't seen. So, I decided to make a few characters to attempt what the movie executed so perfectly. I'll show you my process, and if you want, you can follow along and make your own fairy tale criminal. I already had a character in mind for this because of her role in the Wolf Among Us game, which is about fable characters trying to make it in the real world with hard realities instead of the happy endings that they're used to.
I'm guessing it'd be bad for you to show up empty-handed.
Oh, to her pimp. Damn!
In the game, her name is Faith, and I picked her because I enjoyed her personality and her few interactions with the protagonist Bigby.
They over here getting turned on in the middle of the street? Did you used to date? Who is this?
She's based on the donkey-skinned girl fairy tale, and if you don't know the story, basically in a faraway kingdom lived a king, queen, and their princess daughter. The queen was very beautiful, but one day she grew ill, and before she passed, she asked that the king only remarry someone as beautiful as her. The king found that the only one that matched his wife's beauty was his daughter. Ew. But the princess's fairy godmother made her a magic coat out of the skin of the king's favorite donkey. It hid her beauty and allowed her to escape the kingdom. Eventually, she married a prince who saw her true beauty regardless of the coat, and they lived happily ever after. There are different variations of the tale, but that's pretty much the gist of it. The tale kind of stuck with me because I was super insecure for a good bit of my teen years, and I had a lot of people that confirmed those insecurities over and over again. But sometimes I think I'm not ugly, I'm just a donkey-skinned girl. I'm beautiful, but not a lot of people can see that, but eventually someone will. And it helped a little bit. Anyway, so I'm set, right? I have my character, I already have a little bit of attachment to her, so I can start getting my ideas together and designing. Well, there is a slight problem. Before we get into that, I know it's obvious, but step 1 is finding a character to twist, and if you don't have one in mind, just use Google to find some old or iconic tales. Step 2 is making a Pinterest board of your inspiration for the character, which is where the problem occurred for me. I guess I had to see it in front of me because while making my board, I realized just how morbid the character is, too morbid for the Shrek universe for a few reasons. First off, a lot of the animals in the movies act like humans, like they have goals and complex emotions, so even the idea of skinning them to wear is pretty disturbing. Even if the donkey was a regular, non-talking donkey, it's still the same animal as Donkey. Whether she was in a Shrek movie or just on my social media, you'd see that coat and think she murdered and skinned a beloved character of the franchise. I like my female characters genocidal and sadistic, but still, this is a bit much. So I decided to scrap it, which was disappointing at first, but whatever, no big deal, let's just go back and find another fable to twist. Should be easy enough. Except it's not. The Shrek movies make it harder than it has to be. The thing is, there are 4 of them, so they've covered a lot of the fairy tales. Even if they aren't involved in the plot, chances are they're in the background if they're not already a side character or even a quick gag. This makes it pretty slim pickings for the fables to choose from, because if you want your criminal to make sense in the world, there can't be 2 versions of the character, right? Well, not exactly true. The writers of The Last Wish, for example, contradicted canon with Goldilocks and her family. What I mean is, basically, in the first movie, we see the 3 bears being sold off to Lord Farquaad, and later on in the movie, we see Mama Bear as a floor rug in his castle. Their fates and personalities are completely different in The Last Wish, and some people might see this as an oversight, but I think it makes sense. There are different versions of the stories, why wouldn't there be different versions of the characters? Sort of like Into the Spider-Verse, but they all exist in the same world. So even if the character is on screen in the Shrek movies, you could still make your own version and technically have it make sense. Even if it's a major character, this isn't a pitch to DreamWorks, it's just fun, so go stupid. Go crazy! Personally, I didn't want my outlaw to be something that we've seen before, and I kept searching, but I knew I wanted like a husband and wife duo. Another reason why Donkey Skin Girl was so perfect, because she already had a love interest in her story. But eventually I landed on Beauty and the Beast, who haven't been introduced to the Shrek universe, probably because it's kind of the premise of the first movie. Step 3 is to think about your character's place in the story. Are they sadistic or just misunderstood? Is redemption possible? So anti-hero, antagonist, or villain? And try to keep in mind the themes or phrases present in the character's original story. Let's start with Beauty. For her personality, I see her as a Megara from Hercules or as a Menthe from Lower Olympus. That is to say, she's a seductive and clever but guarded character. Really, she wants someone that can look past the alluring facade she puts out and value who she really is. To some, she may seem selfish and distant, but really she's a vulnerable person with a weakness for helpless individuals. So she never takes from those that struggle to make ends meet as she does. Contrary to the sisters that don't like her in the original tale and the village people who think her strange in the Disney movie, this version of Beauty finds camaraderie in her fellow villagers that live poorly like her. To steal, she ventures to wealthier towns. She relies on her looks and flirtatious wit to swipe coins from aristocrats and nobles. She's not proud of it, but other times she does have to sleep around to get by. But she keeps her head up and remains a prideful person. As for her appearance, I thought it'd be interesting to give her a few features that go against the beauty standards, like a strong or big nose, and a slight unibrow. Later, I went back and experimented with her design just a little bit more, and by the end I added some like slightly choppy teeth and a tooth gap. I also have a tooth gap, and like not only did it make her feel more real, I thought it'd just be interesting to give a character that's known for her beauty traits that society deems unattractive, just to show you can have all of these traits and it doesn't really discount your beauty at all. I made her half black and half French European. I made her dress kind of revealing to go along with that like captivating persona, but also just because she prefers her wardrobe that way. Beauty is not coy about her looks. She knows she's attractive and she takes pride in it. I see her with a kind of loud, thick, and chaotic French accent. Also, I gave her reds and pinks in her color palette to hint at roses and her romantic nature hiding underneath the surface. But the red I put in her skirt is also supposed to hint at danger. Even though she doesn't have a lot, she'll give what she can to those close to her because Beauty's kindness has always been there throughout the renditions. With evil eye rings, the color orange represents strength, courage, and determination, and looking at orange eyes on characters, I kind of see it, so that explains Beauty's eye color. I gave her eye color meaning because eyes are supposed to be the windows to the soul, so that goes along with the theme of there being more underneath. Despite his beastly form, Beast is a refined, well-mannered gentleman with a romantic heart. He has a threatening aura, but overall he's a gentle giant. So unless it's needed to make peace, he usually avoids confrontation. Though getting him angry is a task reserved for those who are truly wicked, he does struggle to hold back when the anger finally does come through. His loneliness is a recent development, but since childhood he's loved people and being around them. But others often found his eagerness for friendship off-putting. He is a bit kooky, which is a result of being alone in a castle for so many years. The talking dishes and furniture were a Disney addition and they aren't in the original tale. It's an element that's absent in my version too. Beast does hold conversation with objects and he does name them, but this is out of pure loneliness and sort of goes with the eccentric part of his character. I gave him long curly hair even on his hooves and tail, and I think this style of curls is really romantic. Anyway, I gave him all these like beautiful features to show that people get so caught up on his curse and their fear of him that they miss the beauty that is right in front of them. Maybe the reasons behind Beast's and Beauty's like design choices like are pretentious, but the Beauty and Beast story is built on a metaphor, so I just wanted to put a lot of metaphors into their designs. I really struggled with his suit colors. Like the colors themselves were nice, but unlike Beauty, he didn't look like he could be in a Shrek movie. After a lot of changes, I decided to model his colors after Beauty. They're married, so matching colors are cute, and it represents how he follows her lead. Though Gaston isn't in the original tale, I do like the idea of his character, and our main villain is inspired mostly by him and Frollo. Just like Gaston, he's attractive, but only on the outside. And he's much older than Beauty, like Frollo is older than Esmeralda. The dynamic between them is pretty much the same too. Marquise Amant wants to marry Beauty, but she's unwilling. But their friendship is interesting because they were actually friends at some point before Amant wouldn't accept no for an answer. Once she rejects him, he punishes her by continuing to raise the village taxes until she can't afford life on her own anymore. Amant is a Marquise because Marquise were responsible for protecting the edge of the kingdom from potentially hostile neighbors, so it makes sense that going after Beast would be his responsibility. Our second villain is the fairy that curses Beast. A lot of people don't really like her, mostly because she punishes the innocent servants in the Disney version. Even though she doesn't turn them into furniture, she's the villain in the original story. In the original, Beast rejects her affections, and that's why she curses him. Like, literally all he did was turn her down.
Nut in me and get me pregnant! I'm not doing none of that.
I'm not sure if they were friends, but they were in my version until she cursed him. This shared experience of being betrayed by people who you thought were a friend is something that helps bring Beauty and Beast closer together. I don't want to reveal too much about what I have in mind for their story because I'm thinking of writing a retelling with them. I guess it would count as fanfiction since it takes place in the Shrek universe. But it'd be detached from the Shrek characters, like maybe they'd be referenced, but I know for sure that they would not make a cameo. But I will say that like Puss, they do occasionally steal from the rich and give to the poor. But they're much more focused on robbing corrupt figures of their power, whether it be political or magical power. They're revolutionary, so I decided to make them anti-heroes and not really villains. And they overthrow the underhanded authority in Beauty's village before starting their lives in crime. Beauty wants the Robin Hood lifestyle, obviously because she has a soft spot for people that have to do anything to get by like she did. Beast shares this goal, but he's eager to take on crime because now that he can leave his castle, he's ready to travel and meet new people. We kind of know by now I talk too much, so instead of talking about their relationship dynamic as a couple, I'm just going to play videos to explain it. And still talk about it.
We made like 100 million doctor's appointments for ourselves in 1 week. After this, we won't have to go to the doctor for like 10 years. Because we're smart.
Well, you definitely need glasses.
No, he's not getting glasses. I like his face the way it is. If you get glasses, I'll divorce you.
Well, you heard her, Doc. Too handsome for glasses. No offense.
But anyway, today I wanted to do something with you because, all right, so sometimes I like when you think of things to do with me. It makes me feel honored, loved, and a part of your life. Shut up. Thank you.
Beast has always thought of finding his soulmate and getting married even before he was cursed. But Beauty has always ignored any romantic feelings that she felt for anyone. She's never really had the luxury of letting someone get close to her in that way. She knows that she has her best interest at heart, but she's not so sure about others, so Beast is better at showing his feelings and affection than her. One way being how he leaves love letters for her to find. Beauty uses her actions to show her love with things like cooking his favorite meals. As criminals, they work like Goldilocks and her family. Beauty is the brains and somehow more intimidating, while Beast is the muscle and only becomes actually intimidating when directed by Beauty. Her temper can get in the way of her thinking, but Beast is more cool-headed, which balances her out. Despite how different they are in their approaches to crime life, they remain in sync and in love. So much so that they're easily distracted by one another even when they're trying to be serious for a job. Like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, these little moments show that they're kind of harmless.
Focus! Hand over that map, or I'll punch holes in the lot of ya.
If they were actually in the movie, I imagine that they'd have like a threatening intro like Goldie, because I really enjoyed that part. At first glance, the duo would seem like a mad French woman with a feral beast that will maul and maim at her command. So yeah, that's the video. Bro, don't we have at least 20 minutes left? About that, I'm gonna try to keep these videos shorter. I have a short attention span and I only really like long videos from channels I adore. And I think most people are kind of the same way. But from the comments I've seen, a lot of y'all made it to the end of my previous video, which yes, let's talk about that. So there is a good bit of you here now, which is so wonderful, and that is just so great, and I'm so appreciative. Okay, I'm sorry, I come from a family of jokers. I don't know how to be genuine and show people I appreciate them. I just want to say I love your comments. I love reading them, and I kind of feel like the channel is like a house I'm renovating. Like there's a bit of shower rust, a few leaky faucets, a bit of chip paint. My dad is literally mowing in the background. Am I the only like black person who like doesn't like to call their parents like mama and daddy like in front of other people? But I do it in private. Like I just feel like it's too weird and like too vulnerable. But you know, just a note, I don't usually call him dad or okay, this is stupid. Anyway, I kind of feel like the channel is kind of like, you know, a house I'm renovating. Like there's a bit of shower rust, a few leaky faucets, and a bit of chip paint, which are all here anyway, and I do really appreciate that. I plan on improving the quality and consistency with each upload. I'm just sort of floundering right now. I'm trying to find my style and my voice, you know, and get comfortable, but I'll get my bearings. Anyway, so the LPS video. I'm not super proud of that video. Like, have you ever made or like worked on something and like for so long and then just a few weeks later or maybe even like a month later you see every flaw and cringe at every decision you made?
Leave me alone!
It's the girl of your dreams. Anyway, I'm not proud of it, but a lot of you want to see part 2 and it's coming, but I was at least planning on one more video before I got to it. You mean you haven't started on it yet? Well, no, I've been busy and have something kind of big planned for June, so I've been working on that.
Oh, boo yourselves!
It's gonna come, okay, I promise. I've been even thinking about like the plot and where to take it and possibly making it more than just videos and maybe even a series. But anyway, just let me know what you think. Do you want the mystery video or do you want part 2? Anyway, that's it. I'm done talking, so I'll see you later. Bye. Final step is to design your character with all of this in mind. So your inspiration board, their place in the story, and themes / iconic phrases.